Alright everybody, it's your boy Blood coming at you with another video. This is a video response to 78 Sports TV. I saw your video earlier, man, on George Foreman and Mike Tyson. From what you said on the video, you heard an interview. And this interview featured George Foreman. I did not hear the interview. I'll look for it, but I haven't heard it at this point. I wanted to make a video response to what you're talking about. Did Mike Tyson dodge George Foreman? And that's a valid question. Let me tell you something, man. I followed this story to the T. I remember one day, the year was 1987, and my father came up to me and he said, "Hey, son," I remember it like it's yesterday. He said, "Hey, son, you know who's coming back?" And I had just read a boxing magazine about an Aaron Pryor comeback. So I told him, I said, "Yeah, I heard that Aaron Pryor's coming back." And he said, "No, it ain't Aaron Pryor." He said, "Big George Foreman." So I said to myself, I said, "Well, damn, ain't he about your age?" And my dad was like, "Yeah, he about a year older than me or so, but yeah, he around my age." And I thought to myself, well, shit, I think my dad's a pretty bad man now, but he can't beat Mike Tyson. And he's getting up there in age. He's close to 40. But yeah, he told me that George Foreman was coming back. So after he told me this, I went back to an old boxing magazine I had with George Foreman on the cover. And George Foreman was making his comeback in 1976, I believe it was. That was his first comeback. And he was gunning for Ali. He wanted a rematch with Ali, okay? So I went back and I looked at the pictures of Foreman in the magazines and things. And remember, I had no internet back then. I had no idea what George Foreman looked like today. But I was picturing the guy from the 1970s. And later that year, I finally did get a chance to see George Foreman fight. I don't remember which fight it was. It might have been a year later. It might have been 1988 by the time I actually saw him fight. But he came on TV in England. England covered boxing pretty well. And me and my father, we watched the fight, man. And I thought Foreman looked fat and out of shape. And I thought to myself, man, he too old for Mike Tyson. Tyson would kill him. So me and my dad, we had a little debate. And my dad said, "Nah, man, Foreman would beat the hell out of that little yap." And that's what my dad would always call certain people. He'll call him a yap, because when he was in his 20s, he never called me no yap before. But when he got in his 30s, he started using stuff like yap and all that shit. So I asked him, I said, "Oh, what yap mean?" He said, "Yap mean you a young ass punk." But anyways, man, we was talking about the possibility of Mike Tyson and George Foreman fighting. And even then, my father favored George Foreman. As time went on, man, I started seeing more and more of Foreman. He even made the cover of Sports Illustrated. And he seemed to start looking a little better too. Like he was shedding some of that weight and stuff. I remember he fought Dwight Muhammad Qawi. He fought Burt Cooper. He fought Jerry Cooney. Every time Foreman would fight, he'll talk about fighting Mike Tyson. I heard him mention Mike Tyson's name several times because I remember it, man. Watching the fights live, and he would mention Mike Tyson in post-fight interviews, or you'll see him before the fight. They'll have an interview where he's talking about fighting Mike Tyson and things like that. So he was always bringing up Mike Tyson. So as time went on, I started to take Foreman a little bit more seriously. Now, as you recall, in 1990, Mike Tyson got his ass whooped by Buster Douglas. Yeah, we was all shocked. It was early in the year, man. I can't remember what month, but it was really early in the year. 1990, because I had still not moved back to America fully yet back by then. I went back to England for that time, and then, yeah, it had to be early 1990. Well, the next time I saw Foreman after that fight occurred, I thought to myself, well, shit, Foreman got a good chance against Mike Tyson. Shit. I didn't think Mike Tyson was invincible no more. I used to think he was invincible. I didn't think nobody on the planet could beat him. He said he was the baddest man on the planet. I believed him until he took that ass whooping. I still wanted to see him fight George Foreman at this point because I thought that Douglas got lucky. I wanted to see Tyson fight Three guys. I wanted his rematch with Douglas, I wanted that Holyfield fight, and I wanted the Foreman fight at the time. A little time went on, and Mike Tyson had an event with George Foreman, man. I'm telling you. Way back in the day, they fought in the same card one time, and there was a lot of talk going back and forth as to who would win between Foreman and Mike Tyson, okay? I remember I was talking about it with my friends because these were mainstream guys. Like, you could talk to the casuals about this one. So I'll be talking to my homeboy Parnell. I talked to all them boys about it. And everybody said the same thing pretty much, that Foreman was too old, too slow. So by the time they had this card together, Holyfield was champ at the time. And George Foreman fought Rodriguez, and Mike Tyson fought either Tillman or Stewart, or was it? It was Tillman. Mike Tyson fought Tillman, okay? Months and months went by after that card. I still don't see no Mike Tyson versus Foreman occurring. I don't see no one talking about this. After the card had occurred, time went on, and they still never ended up fighting. So I remember talking to another friend of mine who's a boxing fan like me, not quite as big of a boxing fan, but he was telling me that Mike Tyson was scared of George Foreman, that he had heard or read somewhere that Mike Tyson backed out of the fight. I'm telling you, it was out there way back in the day. He told me, he said, yeah, man, Mike Tyson backed out the Foreman fight. You heard about that, right? So I thought to myself, nah, man, where the fuck you hear this from? And he told me either someone told him it or he read it or something. I can't remember, man. But I do remember talking about Mike Tyson backing out of the fight. Years later, when I finally had computer access, and I did the research probably as early as the maybe early 2000s, before YouTube and all of that, I heard that Mike Tyson used to watch a lot of film on George Foreman. You know how Customato would make Mike Tyson watch all that boxing film? Well, they would always watch the Frazier fights because Tyson was a kind of stocky, explosive fighter like Frazier. And he'll come in, he'll swarm with those punches, man, either to the body or to the head. Tyson was that type of fighter, which is what Customato wanted him to be. But see, Customato used to tell him that these type of fighters like Joe Frazier, even Rocky Marciano, they were custom made for George Foreman. So Mike Tyson had this embedded in his head that George Foreman was this beast, this animal. In fact, there's this rumor that he even told Don King, hey man, fuck you. I'm not gonna fight this animal. I'm not gonna fight this beast. If I ever talk to Don King, I'll ask him about shit like that. But damn, where are the good questions when you need them, man? I think Don King could pretty much answer that question himself. Tyson had this idea that Foreman was a wolf in sheep's clothing, is what he described Foreman as. He said that Foreman was pretending to be this big guy that liked to grill out and liked to talk about burgers and use the old age thing for an advantage, but really when this guy gets you in the ring, he'll damn near murder you. So Mike Tyson knew what Foreman was about, and Foreman, man, he baited Michael Moore. So Foreman can bait people now. He used mind games too. Regardless, Mike Tyson was afraid of Foreman. Foreman wanted him. I saw Foreman calling out Mike Tyson. I've never went back on YouTube to do extensive research, but it's in my memory bank. I remember Foreman mentioning Mike Tyson several times during that comeback run, especially early in the comeback run, okay? Then there was another rumor that I heard that Mike Tyson didn't want to fight the legendary fighter because he respected him too much. But Larry Holmes was dying for a fight with George Foreman, though. Foreman could come onto some station and talk about how Tyson ducked him. He's telling the truth, but he'll also be telling the truth if he told you how he ducked Larry Holmes and Ernest Shavers. He didn't want no parts of either one of them. And in the 1990s, he went down on record saying, I want no parts of Lennox Lewis. George Foreman just felt that Mike Tyson, being a shorter fighter, that he could take the power and he could give Tyson something. He felt he had Tyson's number. There was a time he felt he could win that fight. And I think Foreman had a good chance, but to be honest with you, I think Tyson would have won that fight if he would have been disciplined. He would have had to have been really disciplined to fight Foreman. Tyson was afraid of Foreman, man. This had been developed when he was younger, when he saw Foreman beating up Joe Frazier. It did something to the mental. It fucked his mind up. Peace out.